Hello, YouTube world. Pastor Randy here, Shepherd's Light Ministry. How y'all doing out there? Let me know. Update me in the comments. I want to know. How are you? How's it going? It's been hot this whole month of June. We're almost into July, and it's been extremely hot. So let me know. How you holding up with this heat? I'm curious. I'm doing okay. Today I'm a little hot. I have my hair up. I was cooking soup. I was like, I don't have time for dinner. And then I realized I don't have time not to make dinner when it comes to my health. So sometimes we have to change our thinking. And we're going to go into that some today with our reading. But I had to say, no, I don't have any other. I have lots of time to make dinner because if I don't make dinner, then my health is going to go. So sometimes it's us that thinks things that, or we let the enemy let us think things that aren't really true. So I did have time to make dinner. I did make dinner, but now it's like extremely hot in here. But it's okay. It'll cool off quickly. I didn't have the air on. I turned it on. We'll wait for it to cool off. But today we are going to focus on love some. And part of this love is to change our thinking. And that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about my dinner drama. Because, one thing we need to learn is about love. And we did this in the women's. This is part of the women's luncheon, so if you didn't make it, I didn't go live because we did it in the cafe and not in the sanctuary. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. So I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 13. This is one of my favorites. It used to be like my all-time top favorite, but I graduated. No, I'm playing. It's still a good section of the Bible, but I don't focus on it as much as I used to. So let's read it. What's it say? And yet I will show you the most excellent way. If I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, mountain moving faith. I'm just gonna comment real quick. I didn't connect the dots for a long time that it says that about faith moving mountains here, because I always thought of it as in Matthew, where it says, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. And it never clicked that it's somewhere else. It's right here, girl. Anyhow, but do not have love, I am nothing. 13:3. 1 Corinthians 13:3. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Love. Love is patient, love is kind. This is where we're really going to focus. But I'm reading the rest for a reason. You'll hear it. It does not boast, it is not proud. 5. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be still. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. This is an important part of this. 9. We know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. Okay, now what's that mean? We're going to get there. So, let's just stop. Or no, let's read on a little bit. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of the childhood behind me. For now, 12, we see only a reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now, this is in 1 Peter. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. 13. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Okay, this is actually talking about eternal love, or agape love, which is eternal love. So this is talking about eternity. When we get to heaven, the only thing we're going to take with us is faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. So it's really important to focus that this is a passage on eternity. And this is also Paul telling us how we are as Christians to behave, because he was speaking to the church, telling us how we are to behave. So we are to behave in an agape love, a love that's spontaneous, divine, and it is an eternal love that goes on forever. So think of eternity when you read this verse. If you have to read it again when we're done here, I don't blame you. I did too after I researched this a little bit and looked into it, because for as much as I have looked into this verse, I've researched this verse, I've read this verse, I never connected the dots to eternity until recently when I was reading in the Dake Bible, and it was brought to my attention with the agape love, and that is actually on eternal love and us when we get to eternity. So that really sparked some attention to me. Dake also pointed out that there's 9 ingredients of divine love in here. 9 ingredients, which amazes me. So I'm going to touch on them a little bit. The 9 ingredients. So pull out your pen, pull out your pencil, because, most people look at this as the love prayer, but no, it's not just a love prayer. It's how we're going to love when we get to heaven. That's why it says tongues is eventually going to stop, because we're not going to speak in tongues in heaven. We're all going to understand each other. So is this clicking a little bit more? Why some people think, tongues doesn't exist down here? Because it's not talking about here. It's talking about heaven. Tongues isn't going to exist in heaven. But let's go over the 9 ingredients of divine love, because this was our focus on the women's lunch, and there's a lot, 9. So let's try to get through these in a timely manner so I don't hold you up all day. But first one, patience. And it says patience in here. This is actually starting in verse 4. So 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4, love is patient. Patience, love, patience, love. Love is passive. It doesn't hurry. This is a big one. It's slow. We're slow. We should be loving people slowly. Sometimes it's suffering long, bears, believes, hopes, and endures all things. Sometimes we need to slow down because they need a little bit of extra love. Not everyone learns or does things at the same speed. So we need to be slow to love. We need to love them slowly and realize, sometimes they need just a little bit of extra love. And we need to be patient with them to get them to the next level or where they need to be, whether it's learning or, them focusing or diving into the Lord, whatever it may be. But we need to do it slowly, not hurrying. We can't say here's your list, go do it. You'll be all right, and think that we're all done. We're not. We need to be willing to spend some time and to help people with correction and to get to the next level where they need to be. Learning is the best way and the easiest way for me to describe this, but we can do it in other ways too. This is pulling them out of their addiction, out of their poverty, mentality, thought, out of their wickedness, their strongholds, whatever it may be. But we need to be patient and love them slowly and not be in a hurry to fix their problems or to fix them. Second one, kindness. So love is kindness. And if you look, these kind of reflect the fruit of the Spirit. Just pointing this out because what is love? It says fruit of the Spirit: love, patience, kindness, self-control, good temper. Might be getting somewhere. Hang in there. Hold on. Keep listening. Kindness. So, number 2, love is an action. I've been focused on action so long, but it never acts rationally or inconsistent, puffed up, or proud. So it's not proud like or boastful, like, oh, look at me, I'm so much better than you. Or we don't love people to get. Another way we could be showing pride is we're loving people because we want other people to notice because we're prideful. Like, oh, look who I helped. This could be interpreted in 2 different ways. It does not say in here, does not specify. It just says that it's kind. And so we need to realize that we don't know if with this action, we're not, acts of rashly but are puffed up. Does it mean like, oh, and your face puffed up, or does it mean, I did that, give me a reward? So we can look at this 2 different ways. And which way is God speaking to you in this way, though, is the question. Generosity. Number 3, love is completion, not envious or jealous. If we are worried about what others have or are doing that we aren't doing, that's not love. People have, people have left his church because of a jealous spirit. That's not being fully generous. That's not having a loving spirit. That's having a jealous spirit. And jealousy kind of overrides generosity. And God doesn't like jealousy, He doesn't like gossiping. He doesn't like grumbling. He doesn't like jealousy. These are just a few things that I've pointed out. I'm sure there's much more if we keep diving in. But so far, these 3. So if we see other people, things happen for people, we should rejoice in it. We should be happy for them. We should be rejoicing in their success or their materialistic things if they get a car or house. We are to be, loving that. If we're not loving them, we need to check our heart. Because we should be rejoicing in love for others. If others have something that we want, if we rejoice, then we're one step further towards getting that. If we don't rejoice and we get a jealous spirit, guess what? We're going backwards because that's where God takes us. He wants us sometimes to rejoice and be happy for the other people. And that gets us one step closer to obtaining what we want or obtaining that success that we're seeking. But first, we have to rejoice and be happy and glad for others. God doesn't like us being spirit. It actually puts us back, not forward. So remember that if you feel yourself like grumbling or gossiping or feeling jealous because someone else got somewhere, got recognition, or obtained something successfully, or advanced in the kingdom, or they're doing something that you thought you should be doing, or they receive something like a house or a lawnmower or a car or money or something that you think you should have, guess what? Think generosity. Like we have to be be showing love and not jealousy. We have to be not envious or worried about what others. We got to praise God and thank God in their time of receiving whatever they're receiving, because we need to praise God too for them. And that's a step closer to us obtaining, which also shows number 4, which is humility, because love is hiding. It's no parade. It airs work and then retires. Like we humble ourselves. We do the hard work. We put in the hard work. And then we retire, and this is showing that this is being humble. Like we work hard. It's not always a paradise. We humble ourselves. We do what we got to do. Sometimes we don't want to clean the bathroom. Sometimes we don't want to pick up something that's disgusting or gross. But guess what? We got to humble ourselves and do it. Sometimes we think we're a little bit above picking up the piece of paper on the church floor, but guess what? We need to humble ourselves and do it. Sometimes we need to humble ourselves when we're somewhere and just pick it up. There was napkins where we were eating at. We went and got ice cream yesterday, and Pastor Rick picked up the napkins that were around the picnic table that were left there when we got there. Sometimes we just gotta humble ourselves. It's not our trash. It's not our garbage. But guess what? Humble yourself. Pick up someone else's trash, because that's showing love to our community, love to our environment, love to what God gave us, because he gave us the earth and he gave us everything in it. And we need to humble ourselves and say, thank you, Jesus, for what you gave me, and just show some humility. Number 5, courteous. Love in a society does not behave unseemingly, always polite with the all classes, never rude, and discourteous. There's one person, I'm not going to say their name online because they don't like being pointed out publicly, and they're not a fan of online, but that's okay. There is a person that God brought in my life to show me how to be polite, and it's hard not to say their name, but that person is like the politest person I've ever met. She grew up with a bunch of brothers that they weren't rude, but guess what? They treated us like one of the boys, and they were rough with us, and we got beat up. And she is still one of the politest people I've ever met. God puts people in your life so that sometimes, we learn how to behave or do a certain thing. And I learned to be polite from this person being in my life, because I saw their politeness, and that impartation came on me. It is an impartation, but sometimes it's learned behavior too. So I got both. I got an impartation, and I got a learned behavior of how to be kind to others, and always say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, thank you, sir, please, thank you. And this is the way that we should be living. We should say, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, thank you, sir. In the church, if they're older than us, once we get 18 and that, we should be calling them brother and sister. And this is just one way to show courtesy. But when we're out in public, we should be doing the same thing. In school, we should be doing the same thing. In our families, we should always be showing people, how we're courteous and not rude. And this is just one way of not being courteous or rude. Opening the door for people if you see them carrying something. Men, you should always be opening the door for a female. I don't care who she is. If she's your mother, your sister, your brother, a perfect stranger, open the door when you are somewhere. Your wife, open the door. Come on, show some courtesy. That others see that too, and you want your kids and you want your sons to do that for their love. Those that they love, their wives, their daughters. You want your granddaughters to feel that love. You want your daughters to feel that love and know that's the type of person they need in their life. So men, step up. You need to be doing it too. Women, you need to receive that. Sometimes it's hard for us to receive it, but we need to receive it. Just stand there. Wait. Let them open the door. Number 6, unselfishness. Love is the essence, never selfish, sour, or bitter, seeks only good of others, does not retaliate or seek revenge. Come on. So many people do it. So many people seek revenge. So many people are just sour and bitter and unforgiving, and they seek only good from others, and they're retaliating, and they're just like, and this is a wicked world we live in. And there's so many people who cannot give up their bitterness. They cannot give up their selfishness. They are sour and they're bitter, and they just complain and see the bad in everyone. And they're just like constantly seeking revenge and retaliation. And they think the world owes them everything. They're very unselfish because they cannot forgive. They cannot forget. They cannot let this bitterness come out of them. Guess what? You need some spiritual health, and you need to you need to go through the whole process of letting this go, and recovering spiritually, and recovering on letting that, whatever the root was that gave that to you, and the reason you're like that, you have to work on that and get it out of you and say goodbye to it and let it go. So if you need this spiritual healing, reach out to us, because sorry, we've been working on this in the Women with the 3/4 House, and they say it has been doing nothing but good for them, and they have seen great results in it. They love it. It's been helping them tremendously. If you need to focus in this area, please reach out and we can help you. Comment, message us. We don't want you living in this bitterness, this unforgiveness, and walking in resentfulness and seeking revenge and retaliation and just being mean and sour towards others, and not ever. And this root right here is something that goes back to like being and jealousy and like the rest of all this, because you can't show humility, you can't show praise for somebody else and be happy for them if you're carrying all this other gunk with you. So reach out. We're here to help you. We'll help you go through this restoring process to get this out of you. 7, good temper. Love is disposition. It's never irritated, never resentful. Let me tell you, when you live with people, irritation is hard to not have sometimes, because you're with that person. You have a higher expectation. You feel like you should always be on the same page, that you should always have the same habits, or that they shouldn't have habits because they live with you. And just like, you just get irritated because you're like, okay, we've been working on this forever. I've been praying for this forever. I've been asking that person to change forever. And then irritation comes up, right? Because we feel like, okay, I've pointed this out way too many times. Guess what? Like, we gotta keep praying. We can't let this irritation get in our way. We can't be resentful. We just gotta like plow through it with them and know that God's got us. He's gonna get that person through it, and we gotta stay in prayer. Prayer. Keep praying. That's part of having a good temper. So if you feel yourself like being irritated and you need to say, God, please help me with a good temper. And this is the thing that I want you to focus on here. And I'm going to stop right here for 1 second, take a time out, and then I'll finish the other two. But any of these that you see yourself doing, like if you're seeing yourself being jealous or envious, or you have selfishness, sourness, bitterness in you, if you are discouraged or irritated, resentful, or the whatever else that I'm going to finish here, and you're just like you're in a hurry and you're not enduring things, and whatever it may be that you see, go back to what I mentioned these numbers were when I mentioned those, and pray that out. So if you're in a hurry, pray like, Lord, please help me with patience with this person. And trust me, he's going to show you, he's going to teach you. If you are getting irritated, say, Lord, I need help. I need a good temper. Please give me a good temper today. One of the fruit of the spirits. If you are selfish or bitterness or say, Lord, help me with this unselfishness. So wherever you see yourself lacking or going, like the bad, the negative, pray for the positive here, and write these down so you have them. I'll put these in the. How about I'm gonna put some of these in the description so you can look back on them. And I just I just deleted these. So I'll put them in the thing, and you can refer back to them if you need to. Number 8, righteousness. Love is conduct, hates sin, never glad when others go wrong ways, gladness by goodness to others, always slow to expose, always eager to believe in the best, always hopeful, always enduring, always slow to expose. How many of us are like, dude, you're doing this and da 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 da, and it's easier to like expose other people's sin or their unrighteousness. This is why the Bible tells us to take the plank out of our own eyes. And it's easier to take the plank out of somebody else's and expose and say, why do you keep doing this? So pray for our own righteousness. And if you see something in somebody else, pray and say, God, am I doing the same thing? And try to bring it out in righteousness. I always say, like, hey, you're doing this, and I once was there, but guess what? God can help you through it. And this is, I prayed. When I used to smoke, I always prayed instead of smoking. When I got to a certain point, what I did is I started out because I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. So I smoked that pack, and then the next day I took one out and I put it in the freezer. And then the next day I took 2 out of that pack, and then 3, and then 4, until I got down to like a few. And when I was on them cigarettes that I removed, or I had like a really bad craving, especially when you get down to like 3, 4, 5, it gets real hard. I would pray and say, Lord, like, come on, help me here. I would read my Bible instead of smoking that cigarette. So I replaced that with another habit. And this is what things that we can help you with. But, we need to be so slow to expose and say, yo, I can help you with that. I can help you quit that smoking. I can help you. I can tell you I ate a whole box of Gobstoppers for a week when I quit smoking, and give you some pointers and pray with you and pray for you. So don't be afraid to like come and ask, because sometimes like me exposing is also helping. Number 9, sincerity. Love and professional, never boastful. How many of us are like, hey, and boost in someone's face and say, boom, I got that basketball in and you didn't. Conceited. Yeah, I know. I'm competitive. Sometimes when you're competitive, it's hard to be not to be boastful or conceited. I'm not a hypocrite. Always honest, willing. Doesn't say I know, I think I can, but is always willing to learn. Leaves no impression, but what is strictly true, never self-assertive, does not blaze out in passion or anger, nor broad over wrongs, always wrong, all joyful, truthful, knows how to be silent, full of trust and always present. Hello. Like, sometimes it's just hard for us, being always joyful, being always truthful, sometimes it's being truthful with ourselves and not boasting and not being like, hey, I'm better than you. I've been there, done that. I got out of there. Or just like, hey, I can do this. You can't. Like, come on now. And sometimes, people need that little bit of pick me up, but we got to do it in a loving way and say, hey, I was there. I did it. And you can do it too. And sometimes it just takes changing her words and saying, hey, if I can make that basketball and you can do it. I know you can. Sometimes we just got to change our verbiage so it's not boastful and it's in a loving way and it's not conceited and it's actually building people up instead of bringing them down. So let's be helpful and not boastful, and let's do things in a loving ways. And there's your 9 ways to love. And I'm going to let you go. And as we're doing this, remember, love is what is in heaven. We're all loving up there. We're not boastful in heaven. We're not conceited in heaven, but we are loving each other. And that's one thing we can take. And I want the crown of love when I get there. So you be loving and use these. I hope this helps you as pointers. If you need more help, if you need some prayer, and message us, comment us below. Comment below, of how this message helped you and brought eyes to you, because there's ways that I'm not always loving and you're not always loving, and sometimes we gotta have somebody bring it to our attention. And I hope I did it in a loving way, because I didn't call anyone out. I just told you things that happen, and sometimes I see things in myself when I tell you these things too. So don't worry, we're not always perfect, and we're not always as loving as we need to be, but we need to pray through it. We need to try, and we need to do the best we can, and to lift one another up, and to support one another. And when we can't, when we're falling, we need somebody sometimes to lift our arms up. So make sure you're in church, make sure you're in your small groups, make sure you have a group of people that can hold your arms up when they need held up, that can boost you up, that can do things in a loving way, because we all need to meet corporately. We all need our group of friends, and we need to assemble together, especially as the times get closer, because we live in a world that's very boastful, very ignorant, very unloving, and we need to be around those that are at least trying to love us, even if they're not doing the best job. As long as they're trying, those are sometimes the ones we need. But love you all. I hope to see you this week to women's, men's services, and enjoy your time together this holiday week, because the 4th of July is this week. So enjoy yourselves, and I will see you later. Love you all. Have a great and wonderful week. Enjoy your 4th of July in this year of last day of June 2024 or 2025. I'll see you later. Love you.